This is Rating Descending,
where we watch IMDb's worst 250 movies so you don't have to.
My name's Michelle St. Clair.
My name's Abigail Ward.
And this week we watched Urban Legend's Final Cut. A film school is the center of a fresh spate of killings based on urban legends. Let's watch. I am so keen for this week and this episode.
Ooh.
But before that, there's a thing that I wanted to do. We got sent an email that I'm going to read out.
Tell me about it, stud.
So we got sent an email by Ryan Chan from Canada saying, "Hi, Abigail and Michelle and guest." We don't have a guest this week, Ryan, so, maybe pay a little...
Fucking idiot. Pull it together.
Oh my God. Love the show. It really makes my long commute fun. I look forward to hearing every episode, especially though... Hang on.
You got this, Michelle.
Especially though, since I probably won't watch any of these movies. I've been wondering, we know what IMDb users have as their worst movies, but what are yours?
Oh.
Sincerely, Ryan from Canada. Thank you, Ryan.
Great
Thank
question,
you.
Ryan.
This is what I've wanted. This is what I've needed. Please, let this be a precedent. Have the questions flow.
Yeah, please. You can ask us anything. We're open books.
People have asked a few spot questions here and there, but they're usually the kind of thing that I'm like, I'm not sure if you want me to answer this on air, But so, Abby, what is your worst movie?
Yeah.
Because I have an answer if you want time to think.
Yeah, give me some time.
Yeah, because I had the advantage of I knew that Ryan emailed this already, so I've been thinking about it. Because I feel like part of the thesis of the podcast is that a lot of what we rate as bad movies are like, it's just meh or average or whatever. And then there's some movies that are like actively harmful and awful, like Sia's Music or Birth of a Nation and things like that. For me, it's got to be one of those. I'm going to put one that will really show that I'm a film school teacher because it's Intolerance by D.W. Griffith, which is the movie he made after Birth of a Nation. And the reason I hate it so fucking much is because it's like insisted on being taught everywhere. And it's the film he made after he made pro-KKK propaganda, Birth of a Nation. And then black people were like,
what the fuck, man?
Yeah, they were like, this is terrible. Don't make this. And he was like, oh, so much for the tolerant left. But in like 1917. And he's like, it's like 3-hour epic about how people.
It's like vignettes as well.
Yeah.
It's not even like a proper cohesive story, right? It's like little vignettes in a film.
It's like 4 different time eras from Babylon to the modern era of people getting persecuted for their brave and courageous ideas. It's like people are calling you out because you're pro-KKK, dude. They're not intolerant, you are.
Yeah.
I hate it so much because it's like anchored so much of like cinema history and it's an awful piece of shit. I also don't think it's very good at all. I hate it. That's my worst movie.
See, it's tough though because it's like my worst movie. What do I think is the worst or what gets me the most enraged? Because to be honest, like, I'm sorry, Ryan, I don't want this to be like a disappointing answer because it is on the list. Sex and the City 2 fucked up my life. Sex and the City 2 was one of the darkest days of my life. And I know if you've listened to the podcast, I know that you know this, but when I'm sitting here thinking about the question, that's the first thing that leapt to mind. And it's not because of the constraints of the list. It's because that's how bad Sex and the City 2 was.
Look, it's not great. It is a decidedly awful movie. I thought you were going to go for something that we once watched together back in the Let's Watch Bad Movies days, Fart the Movie.
Oh, Fart the Movie was pretty... You went out of your way to like download it for me. Yeah. And I thought the first 4 minutes was hysterical. And then the rest of it really was him just sitting in his house farting and narrating.
My biggest problem with that is every single one of those events, for listeners who haven't listened to every episode, I used to host a monthly bad movie night. We'd watch bad movies, like the proto format of this podcast. It was the first time that I was like, all right, someone else can pick a movie. And you were like, it's got to be Fart the Movie. So I like rented it. I put down hard cold cash so that we could watch it. And it was not at all the brief. Not even, it was just this, it was genuinely badly made.
It was insufferable. That's true. And yeah, I'd probably watch it over Sex and the City too. I really would.
We finished Sex and the City too. We couldn't finish Fart the movie.
We were obliged to finish Sex and the City
legally obligated.
We were contractually obliged
by our deal with the devil.
But I was like stabbing a pillow next to me. I couldn't. It was physically torturous. That's my answer, Ryan. I hope you're happy.
Yeah, Ryan.
Thanks for making me think of that dark place.
So, Sex and the City 2 and Intolerance. The movie that is like, what if Donald
Fairly
Trump
similar.
in 1917 threw a temper tantrum that's a 3-hour movie?
Yours is like, this morally outraged me, and mine is, this physically threatened me. I got physically threatened by Sex and the City 2. That sounds like a tabloid headline. That sounds like a YouTube video.
No,
I got physically threatened by Sex and the City 2.
It's like, YouTube clickbait thumbnail. It's got you going, oh, on the cover with
dermatologists hate her.
Well, that's different.
Oh,
God.
Sorry.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention while we're on the topic of people sending us things, several people tagged, I don't know why me specifically rather than both of us, but me specifically in the exact same Tumblr post made back in the day of like how to include more actors with disabilities and stuff. And giving the case of Ricardo Montalban in Spy Kids as a great example of how it's
on
like
Twitter.
Yeah, or people sent it to me. It's originally a Tumblr post because it's positing like.
What were you tagged on?
I was tagged on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Insta. I'm not like everywhere.
Yeah,
people were like, remember this? And I'm like, all right, that's a better take than I had. Because it was like, like a lot of the time they're like, oh, we can't cast an actual disabled actor because they need to do other things. Like in fucking Glee, they're like, oh, he needs to dance.
Yeah.
It's like, but that's fucking weird because you can there's so many things around that. And it gave the example of like, yeah, Ricardo Montalban's in a wheelchair and yet they still have him jumping around and going like, look at how much I kick ass as a guy in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a good take. I still think there's some weird things in the actual writing of some of what he says, but that's a better take. That's good nuance to add in.
That's lovely.
That's good shit.
That's a win.
Speaking of a win, this week we watched Urban Legends Final Cut. And I'll just say it up front. I unironically think this is a good movie.
What?
This is now one of my favorite movies.
What?
I loved it. Did you not like it?
I don't think it's a good movie, Michelle. No.
What didn't you like about it? I loved it. I thought it was fucking incredible, especially after the sludge we have to watch every week.
Yeah. What do you love about it? More to the point, what is it about this film that makes you think it's a good film?
It's fucking pacey. It's got good direction. There's like good use of close-ups, moving the camera, the like lighting. It's got like Dario Argento inspired horror sequences that are kind of like, it's camp and it's fun.
It's camp.
It is camp. And it like because
Did we watch the same movie?
I mean, I sent it to you. I assume we watched the same movie.
Urban Legends Final Cut, right?
Yeah, Urban Legends Final Cut. It's got not quite David Duchovny is the bad guy in the end, and the lead actress Jennifer Morrison
from
blonde.
House. Yeah.
The villain has the fencing mask.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll watch the same movie. It's incredible. It's really great. I thought it was good. It was like knowingly camp, which meant that I knew it was having fun. And then I got to do incredible things, such as killing a DP by bashing his head in with his own lens while intercutting that with someone else recording screaming so they can't hear the screaming.
The thing is, usually you've caught me off guard because usually we say, look, this film is stupid, but we loved it anyway. But you've come in here and made the audacious claim that this is a good movie.
It's unironically and aggressively a good movie.
What the fuck, man? You're going to have to spend the next 40 minutes justifying yourself.
If that's what this episode is.
I'll just sit here and have a beer.
If that's what this episode is, if this episode is me justifying to you why this is a good movie, that's all I ever want. Okay, this episode, it's going to be like 168 Urban Legends Final Cut, and then brackets, Michelle's defense case. That's this episode.
Michelle versus the Crown.
What?
I represent all of Australia.
Why? Well, wait, do you represent the Crown or Australia?
Well, Australia is also the Crown. So if you're fighting...
Not my Australia.
Oh my God. Because don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was really camp, and I thought there were bits that were really fun and inspired. It was so tropey though, and I didn't feel like
but it's doing that on purpose. It's a post-Scream slasher. It's doing what Scream was doing.
Scream did it better.
Scream did do it better. Scream's one of the best movies ever made. I could say that this is a 7 out of 10 and that's a 10 out of 10.
But like the actual scenes of like getting scared never scared me. Scream scared me. This film never scared me.
Yeah, but they often didn't scare me because I was too busy going, what? That's cool. That's
Also,
great.
Jennifer Morrison as the lead was awful. And all these guys are awful towards her, being like, fuck off out of my set, all right? And she's like, what?
Oh, no, but I remember film school. You know, it made sense.
Oh, yeah. As people that did go to film school, it was highly triggering watching this film.
There was one point at which one of the guys, Toby, played by Anson Mount, was accusing her of also making a slash and was like, you stole my fucking genre.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is some film bro shit to accuse her of stealing a whole genre
Yeah.
from him.
All of the men are so aggressive towards her.
Yeah.
So rude. And she really just takes it. She's just like, what? I didn't mean, hey, come on.
Nah, but then,
Like, come
but
on,
then at
lady,
the
stand
end,
up for
they're all
yourself.
on her set and they're like,
They are.
she's the superior filmmaker. That's
She
good
is.
shit.
She is.
That's
That
good
is
shit.
nice.
Yeah.
And like there's we'll get into it later, but there's a lot of like good little quips at the end as well.
Oh my God. Such as when
You know what they say, those who can't do, teach.
See? How do you not love that movie? An earlier bit, the professor shoots the guy for not having
That bit was
genuinely...
insane.
He didn't do the sound mix, and then he goes, film as a collaborative medium. I'm like, this movie's fucking funny. This is a good movie. I'll go into the key details
Okay.
so that we can just get right into my defense case.
Lay it on me.
I'll like add in a sound of like a gavel.
Yeah.
When we get into it, I'll be like, all right.
Where are your silken robes?
I didn't know
Where's
you weren't
the
going to be on my
peruke?
side. So
Where's
I
the
didn't.
peruke?
Okay, but this is an audio medium, and I didn't know we weren't on the same side. I feel like I'm forgiven for not bringing physical props.
I bring a physical prop every fucking episode.
All right, where's your physical prop?
Right now, it's a giant red boxing glove.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
it's
on my
huge.
fist, yeah.
It's bigger than you are.
I thought this was going to be more of a physical fight
how do
rather
you
than a
even-
legal fight.
I didn't think it was going to be a fight at all.
Oh, I'm always ready for a fight with you.
How did you even angle your arm to get in that? I know. You're barely even holding it up.
It's holding me up.
All right, I'll get into the other for you.
Do it.
So first, some key details. This was released in 2000. The director is John Ottman. This was one of the things I found most interesting about it. Is John Ottman is an editor and composer. He mostly composes the films that he edits. Most notably, Usual Suspects.
Oh.
Yeah, he did like Usual Suspects, Cable Guy. He did one of my other favorite movies, but I love it because it's bad, Lake Placid.
Lake Placid's amazing.
Yeah, and I can tell that the person who edited that is the person who directed this. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is someone who knows how to make something that's really fun. Yeah, he's worked a lot with Bryan Singer, but stopped after 2016. So yeah, good for him.
Good for him.
This is the only thing he's ever directed. I assume because he got given the opportunity to direct it and it wasn't as big a hit as anticipated.
Yeah.
It's starring Jennifer Morrison, Matthew Davis, who was the guy, he was the bad guy in Legally Blonde, right? Like the asshole ex-boyfriend.
Like Warner.
Yeah, that guy.
How could you do this to me?
There was Loretta Devine and Hart Bochner.
Loretta Devine was very fun in this.
She was very fun in this.
Yeah.
She and Eva Mendes, who is also in this, I kept thinking were returning actors, and that's just because they appeared in films related to other things on this
Right.
list, but nothing that we've seen. Anthony Anderson was in this, and he was in Kangaroo Jack, so he's the returning actor for this movie.
Yeah. Didn't we look up Anthony Anderson? He was like a bad guy.
I don't remember that.
Oh, man. I think Anthony Anderson is a bad dude. Put me on record.
Well, you know, he's in multiple movies on this shit movie list, so fuck him. The budget for this was $14 million, and it made 38, so it was a
That's
success.
all right.
But it made half of the original because this is a sequel.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, which I
I've
don't
never
think
seen
I've
the
established.
original.
I normally like to watch the previous movies if we're watching a sequel. I didn't with this one because
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't include a copy of the first movie.
I was worried I wouldn't have time, but also like none of the characters come back. It's just like also about an urban legend serial killer. So I
Yeah.
kind of didn't feel obligated. Also, it had negative reviews, so I was like, I don't want to waste my
Oh,
time.
did it? So even
with
the
watching.
first one had negative reviews.
Yeah, but reading through it, a lot of the negative reviews were like, Scream just came out, and this is just worse than Scream.
Yeah. Wait, what year did the first one come out?
The first one came out in a year, 1998. Oh, Jesus, they really made this straight afterwards.
What year was this one, sorry?
2000, filmed in 1999.
Right, okay.
It, it made a bunch of money, but it just wasn't very good, apparently.
Yeah.
Let me get into the proper overview.
Please.
Amy Mayfield, a student at a prestigious film school, is competing with her fellow students for the prestigious Hitchcock Award, given to the best thesis film from amongst them. She comes up with the idea to make a slasher about a serial killer who murders based on urban legends after hearing a similar story from the security guard, Reese. While watching dailies of the first days of the shoot, Amy and the crew watch in an extra reel the lead actress get murdered by a mysterious figure. Amy is the only one who believes the footage to be real, with the rest of them thinking it was filmed by one of the others, and begins to try and figure out who did it. While investigating the alleged suicide of her peer Travis Stark, she finds Trevor, his brother, who agrees to help. Easily one of the weirder parts of the movie.
Especially because they didn't even style Trevor to look a bit different, like have longer hair or a different...
He's also not...
He's exactly the same.
He's also not a twin.
What?
Yeah, we'll come back.
Okay. What the fuck? Okay.
As the crew gets slowly killed as the shoot progresses, they confront their chief suspect, fellow student Toby. While confronting him, they call their film professor Solomon, who, upon finding out Toby lied about his involvement on Travis's film, shoots him and reveals he is the killer in an attempt to frame Amy and use Travis's film to bolster his own failing career. After a standoff, Solomon is shot by Amy in self-defense. Amy then completes her film titled Urban Legends with a scene at the Hitchcock Awards while being helped by her peers. So let's just jump right back into the one of the weirder parts. So
yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, so Trevor and Travis are both played by Matthew Davis. I kept looking it up, and they only ever call him his brother. They never say twin, even though it is the same person styled in the same way.
Yeah, they didn't even give him like a different haircut. They didn't give him more facial hair. They didn't dress him differently.
Also, their names are Travis and Trevor.
Travis and
what
Trevor.
What terribly uncreative
They've
parents.
got to be twins. They've just got to be twins, man.
I would almost respect it more if the parents just called him Travis too to get it over with. Yeah, I do think like one of the weaker parts of the whole movie is just the whole weird thing with Travis and Trevor, and like he's positioned the whole movie as like, it's him. It's the red herring, but he's also the love interest.
That guy is such a bad actor as well.
I thought he was.
He's like, come on, Amy.
Yeah, but
know what's true.
But that's what I think worked. You know what he's really good at? Being untrustworthy.
Being lackluster is the word I would use.
No, because he's in every scene. He's like, hey, come on, believe me, and you're like, I don't believe him at all, which is meant to be the thing. But then it's not him, and he's not really involved, so it ends up being weird. It's a weird choice, but I think it works throughout
This is a bad start to you justifying why this is a good film.
To justify it then, it begins, it's on a plane, right? And then, we think it's on a plane. Mm-hmm. And then, it's moving through, it follows
There's a thunderstorm going outside.
It seems, and they start talking about urban legends, in particular about like the episode of The Twilight Zone with the gremlin, and they're like, oh, but then the main person we're following goes off to the bathroom to be in the Mile High Club. Hell yeah. Then she sees this bloody writing in the wall. She comes out. Everyone on the plane has been individually stabbed. That's fucking crazy. Then there's a guy with a knife. She gets chased into the cockpit, is trying to like get out in what looks like a crazy, really idiotic death scene.
Yeah.
And then from the window flops one of the students going, cut. That's one of my favorite shots in the thing, is him like just landing on the side of the plane because he's shooting it as his short film. It's great.
I hated
Excellent
it.
campy intro.
I thought it was an annoying campy intro. I was like, oh, fuck off. It's just a film.
It's fun.
No.
It's what the whole movie is about.
I know, but I was
fun.
almost disappointed. I was like, what a cop-out.
But it's not like the classic, like, oh, Hollywood movie about being in Hollywood. They love that. It didn't feel self-aggrandizing.
It's just so weird because Scream 2 did the same thing. No, sorry, Scream 3 did the same thing. Where there's like a film about Scream, so it's all meta. I fucking hate that shit, man.
Nah, it's great. It's fun.
I think it's lame.
I think it's fun. I certainly think in 2000 it would have been fun. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's not even meta yet. It's just it's aware of its own tropes. It's great. And then immediately when we're in it, I'm like, the styling of the direction and the cinematography is better than the intro. They know exactly how to communicate this is pulpy, awful shit. And this is what the actual film is. There's great use of close-ups all throughout it. It's fucking incredible. It's so good. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? This is really throwing me, Mish. I thought we're on the same page, man.
I thought we were.
Turns
on the
out
same
we're not
page,
even
too.
on the same book,
Oh my
on the
God.
same shelf. We're in the same library.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I mean, maybe we are in the same library, but I'm in a different section
What section are you in? You're in the sexual health section.
because I'm having so much sex that I've got to figure it out. No, I'm in the. You know how they have a cool section?
Oh,
where
yeah,
the cool
yeah,
people
yeah,
go.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
probably in the lame section.
Cool biography section.
Yeah, you're in the bad opinion section. Oh, I'm sorry.
I feel like that'd be like the worst section of the library is always like the military history section.
Yeah, with just looking at a sea of white dudes in their 50s.
Yeah, looking at World War II books.
Yeah,
again
going
and
like,
again.
these are the real heroes. They don't make them like this anymore.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh my God. I'll tell you what, where I really started to go like, this movie is fucking great.
Yeah.
Is in the snuff film death. Which is, okay, so one interesting thing, this is not part of my trivia because I thought we would probably just need to talk about it in general, is the first death that we actually see is the student Alice, who there's like a bar sequence and then it's like the classic urban legend of waking up in a bathtub of ice and someone's taken your kidney.
Yeah.
Which was also the last urban legend in the first movie. So it's trying to like pick up where it left off.
Gotcha. I think I'll need you to like remind me of what things are meant to be urban legends as well.
Sure.
Because it's hard because I watch this and I'm like, well, these to me are just tropes rather than legends.
This one's less clear about the legendiness than the first one.
Yeah.
But that one's very explicitly that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she wakes up. I thought it was pimping another, like we were going to find out this was another student's short. Because it was filmed in a very like hacky slasher style.
Yeah.
And then as it goes on, she's genuinely trying to escape. And then the guy like slams a broken window on her and her head gets cut off.
Completely cuts her head off.
Yeah. And I was
it's like it's a blunt window. Like he just slams it down her neck and it slices it fully off.
I guess since it was smashed, it would have been sharp.
It wasn't. It was a pane.
Crazy.
It was a wood. It's like the bottom of a window is
no, because it got broken off. We see that just
it wasn't just a blade.
No, it was. That we specifically see that as she's coming in, she breaks it because she's getting yanked in, and so it was exposed.
I remember in the shot, it's like a bit of wood at the bottom.
Listeners at home, we just rewatched that section. I was right.
You're fucking right.
When I saw that bit, that is the first like actual death in the film. And I was like, oh, it's going to be this kind of slasher. That's a bummer. Because I thought it was hacky and slashy and more like modern slasher style.
Yeah.
Then I found out when I was doing the research that was actually a reshoot because the producers felt like there wasn't a death early enough in the film.
Right.
So they were like, oh, we need something to like increase the tension, make it feel like there's a thing. And I feel like you can totally tell that it's plunked in there.
Yeah.
Because it's so tonally weird.
It is. And it's like, there's no relevance of his character dying. She's a girlfriend of Travis that ends up getting killed very quickly after anyway. And she's just not mentioned for the rest of the film. No one's like, hey, what happened to her? Like, no one gave a fuck about this girl, apparently.
Mentioned at all. The style of filmmaking in it is different. There's also a lot of like breadcrumbing of who the next is going to die that doesn't make sense with that in the sequence.
Yeah.
It also doesn't make sense why the professor kills her. Like, it doesn't make that bit's fucking weird.
Also, I have to say, like, you mentioned that the professor to you felt like a David Duchovny like ripoff, but to me, he felt like a John Hamm ripoff. Can you see it?
I see it less than David Duchovny. But I get
more than David
where you're
Duchovny.
coming from, but I see it less than David Duchovny.
God damn.
I don't, for example, think that this guy
Twitter.
is the midpoint of the two of them. I don't think that. I think he's definitively closer to David Duchovny.
I think he's definitively closer to John Hamm. We're going to have a Twitter poll.
Yeah, Twitter poll. Who does this man, who is his own person,
remind you more of?
Rip to Hart Buckner's career.
But really the question is, who do you love more, Michelle or Abigail?
No, please, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me.
Pit them against each other.
Who are you representing in this moment?
What do you mean?
When you're like being the whisper, pit them against each other.
Yeah.
Who is being the whisper?
An outside observer?
Who?
Just a random person.
Just a random person?
It's
What's their name?
I don't know, man.
Is it
John?
Fucking
Hamm.
John Hamm?
John Hamm.
I fucking knew it. See, that's what I was saying. John Hamm would say that, wouldn't he?
John Hamm, baby.
So the first proper death scene that feels like it's part of the movie is Sandra, where she's like come back to set and it's just like big red like alarm thing, and then he like slowly creeps up and puts the camera on, and then as he slashes, it cuts to them all watching the dailies. Also, as a film teacher, watching a bunch of students actually watch dailies. Oh, mwah. Made me so happy.
Exciting.
I was like, wow, these students, she talks about moving the camera and then they watch dailies. These are good students.
You can definitely tell this is meant to be a good film school because they are all so invested. They're turning up. They're not like, they're all like arrogant assholes, but they're really passionate. Whereas the film schools I went to, no one cared. Everyone thought that they were just going to be a natural success and they didn't have to put in any hard work. It's crazy.
But they're watching the dailies and then it like cuts to a new reel and they start seeing it. It's totally different. But what I love is that it then becomes like, as she's getting slashed, we're seeing these like close-ups of the grainy film projection intercut with like everyone in the projector room, that like classic blue lighting behind them watching it, and then like they're all smiling because they think it's fake, and then her looking at it with these like extreme close-ups of her eyes. It's fucking great. It's good. It feels like tense and interesting.
Close-ups don't make a good film, Michelle.
Lots of like shots of the projector that feels like sort of spooky, but it's like, it's beautiful. It's stunning. It's so good film craft.
It's so weird that you think that. I remember in like that final scene where they're tussling and like Amy has the professor on her and then there's like someone shoots.
Yeah.
And then they pull off the professor and they're like, there's a close up of a gunshot. I was like, is that on Amy or the professor? And then Amy just gets up.
I mean, I could tell it was on the professor because it was
the professor's sweater.
Yeah.
People don't remember what people were wearing though. I was watching that scene and I was confused. I was like, this is badly directed.
I do think that moment was bad staging, but literally the moment prior to it
too many close-ups.
Is the incredible concept of one of them has brought a prop gun, one of them has brought a real gun. But then the real gun gets dropped and Trevor gets like thrown into where the film school's like armory is.
Yeah.
So all of these prop guns spill out onto the floor.
Yeah.
And they all pick up a gun and it's like a Mexican standoff / Russian roulette. Like only one of them has the real gun. That's fucking good. That's cool.
Fun.
That's a really great concept.
There is a lot of fun concepts.
Fun.
And I liked all of the sets. I like how when the professor shoots the mean evil kid that said that she stole his genre, when he shoots him in the chest, being like, it's a collaborative medium, and then shoots him. That was really funny.
Hell yeah.
And he like bursts through the wall behind him and it's just like a space alien set.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fun. We are like, they're like fighting through all these stages.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great movie.
But I wouldn't say it's a great movie.
No, it's great.
Who are you?
Like I said, when the DP, Simon, the Croatian guy, is like going out for a smoke while they're recording, it's just this like intercutting of him. We know he's probably going to get killed and he's getting stalked because that's how it's like being shot. Intercut with all of the like a group of people and these shots just of their mouths like tracking in, going like just screaming. Because the whole thing is that then they're screaming so loud that they can't hear his screams. But then their screaming finishes first. So Amy, she's recording. She can hear it in her headphones. Fucking incredible. My only real problem is that her headphones must be turned the fuck up to be able to hear that distant screaming. And then she drops the mic. She's deaf.
She's a really laid back character because I feel like she went back and watched video footage of him getting killed outside. And she kind of just goes, oh. Whoa, it's like the first time she's seen a murder properly. And she's like, oh. Whoa. I need her level-headedness in my life.
Whoa, what?
She's a real, like, she would calm me the fuck down. I'd be like, this is crazy, right? This guy's just gotten killed. And she'd be like, yeah, it's scary. And I'd be like, you're right. It's scary.
It's so bring me back down to Trevor.
Earth.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
And then Trevor's like, don't go to the police. I have an amorphous past that's never clarified. That was not great.
That was stupid.
That was dumb.
Yeah.
I will say that. That's why I'm not saying this is a 10 out of 10. I'm not saying that.
You're saying it's amazing craft work.
Yeah. It could be both. It could be both.
I'm still not convinced, Michelle.
I don't know. Like, there's the whole chase bit. I love she turns on the lights. It's that classic, the fake out, but she sees her own reflection, but then she startles. But instead of it being like she goes, ah! And I'm like, that's great. That's really honest. That's me when I see my reflection at nighttime.
At any time.
I did that earlier today. I was working. There's a mirror in my little studio, and I was just walking around, and I was like, I just saw something move in the corner of my eye, and then I turn and I see a leg, and I'm like, ah! And it's me. It's my leg that I could see.
Whereas I have a thing where I keep thinking I'm looking at my cats, but really it's just rubbish bags.
What?
Like sometimes I think that the cats are in the room with me and then it's just like an empty bag.
Why do you have so many loose rubbish bags?
Why
do you have so many loose rubbish bags in your apartment?
You tell me. It's just it's a dystopia.
Why do you? Okay,
Everything's on fire.
my
There's trash
theory-
on fire. There's bags.
there's trash bags on fire.
Trash bags on fire, baby.
My theory is that you're sitting there and you're watching your soap operas.
My
that you so
stories.
your stories, yeah. And as you're tearing up, you grab the only thing nearby, which is a trash bag, and you use it.
Blow my nose into it.
And then you just toss the trash bag.
And then I
you know
start
what
chatting to it like it's B.
And then when you see it, you go, oh,
That's so delightful.
oh my. Meanwhile, on the TV is something that's like, I'm your real brother. Ow, that hurts. Oh, Ricardo. I haven't seen an episode of a soap opera in maybe a decade and a half.
No, I think you nailed it.
I
think you did really well.
Man, my energy is off today.
Oh, mine is so low. I feel like I have this like tiredness behind my eyes and it's inexplicable. I got a full 9 hours of sleep last night. I actually thought I was fine, and then I sat down and I was like, I'm really tired.
There's so many, and this is what I mean. Like I was pitching to my girlfriend like about.
You have a girlfriend?
Yeah, I do. I know I don't really bring her up.
No, you never
very
talk about
much.
her.
How
How long have you guys been together?
Like 3 decades. It's been pretty rare.
So not long.
No, not that long.
Yeah.
Considering I've been alive for like 500 years.
You have,
It's
but
not-
you don't look a day over 475.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But to my defense, like the 470s, they don't tell you your skin like sheds.
Yeah, it's
So it
actually the best
rejuvenates,
decades
yeah.
of your life.
It's
You're in your
oh
prime.
My God.
Have you
460 is terrible.
Have you seen 460 going on 470?
No, I
It's
haven't.
my favorite.
Oh yeah,
favorite
It's your
coming of age
So it's
film.
not your worst movie because my worst is 420 going on 430.
A 420.
But now it's going on 430,
Fuck.
which is where you have to grow up. You know.
And stop smoking weed all the
Yeah,
time.
I feel like it's just capitalist propaganda. It's like, oh, get your life together and get a job. And I'm like, fuck you, man.
Fuck,
we're
man.
not born to work.
That's so true. All of high school
Yeah.
in that case is capitalist propaganda.
I mean, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's also pretty authoritarian.
Wait, did I say something smart?
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, no, okay. Like, yeah, I was pitching to my girlfriend.
You have a girlfriend?
Oh my God. Let me.
This
leave
is
me
huge.
be. I don't have enough today to comedically. I can't jab back. You're what's a kind of punch? Jibbing? You're jibbing and I can't jab.
Gibbet. Ribbit. Bop it. Flap it. Stab it.
It's like
Oh, you didn't play flop it, bop it, stab it?
It's like I'm
Fucking
trying to.
loser.
It's like I'm trying to play catch, and every time I throw you a ball,
I play tag.
That's a great example, even if it doesn't actually make the analogy work. That in itself, it totally fit exactly what I was trying to communicate. Thank you.
You're
Thank you, Abigail.
welcome.
Thank you. I think the real trick to this podcast is the clear antagonism.
No, it's the challenge that I
It's the
pose to
challenge.
you every
Yeah.
day you see me.
Would I make a good recording by myself? No, I need you here to desperately trying to throw me off course. Then I'm overcoming something. It's
Yeah.
improving in every way.
Every episode is an obstacle, baby.
It's like your weighted clothing, and I'm training like in an anime. And then one day, like after episode 250, I'm gonna take the clothing off, and I'm gonna like make the best episode of a podcast you've ever seen.
Whoa.
'Cause it'll
I'm
be
gonna bow
focused.
to you when you do it.
Thanks. You're not gonna be on it.
This whole podcast is training for your solo podcast. Because if you have a podcast with me, you're ready for anything.
That's what everyone finds out. Like, yeah, I do think Michelle needs some spice. I'm like the
I'm your
chicken,
seasoning,
and you're
baby.
the any seasoning.
You're the chicken of the show, and I'm the seasoning.
Yeah,
I get it.
it's like just you.
It's a really
like,
normal
there's not really
metaphor.
anything here, but without me, you're like this. It's kind of boring.
You bring the order to the podcast. I bring the spice, baby.
Those aren't two. That's not a pair. It's,
What do you want for dinner tonight?
Oh.
Beef or order?
yeah, one of them's the order, the other one's the spice.
Okay, clearly we're both not doing great today.
They're the odd podcasters.
It's an odd cast.
Oh, that's why you're the spice.
That's why I'm the spice, and you're the order. Spice and order. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, bam, bam, bam.
never have an ad ever. Have to cut out this whole section. Or we'll have we'll re-record an audio under it that just goes, if it's parody, it's fair use. If it's parody, it's fair use.
You're the editor, man.
Before I pivot into trivia, I wanted to talk about two things quickly.
Tell me.
One is that part of why I think this is good is I think the ending with it being the teacher and saying like, it's to frame you because I was up for the Hitchcock Award and then
Your father.
your dad, the famous Oscar director, like picked the other guy's film over mine, and now I want to get revenge against you so that I can also use the film to launch my own career. I'm like, this film's kind of about nepotism and networking in the film industry, because they even have the other nepotism baby, Graham, who's like always on his phone and is a total jerk. But his whole thing is that his dad is a director, so he has connections, so everyone is trying to be friends with him. And he points out to the main character, you are a nepotism baby too. It's just that you're hiding it.
Yeah.
This film has a theme that is solid and consistent.
I disagree.
No, it's good.
No, it's not.
Good shit.
Because what's it saying about nepotism?
Bad.
No, it's not. It's not saying that at all.
Bad.
It just has a
Leads to
vague
killers.
theme around nepotism.
Yeah.
I don't even know if the screenwriter is aware what like a theme would be.
Well, that's just because they got their job from nepotism. But John Ottman, he knows. Hey, Ottman, it's you and me, baby. You know, I know that you know.
Your argument is still flagging, Michelle. I'm still not convinced.
Okay, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is I like the way that it breadcrumbs the next death. Like at the beginning, Sandra is the Scream Queen actress who gets killed in the short. She's the first, if we cut out the reshoot scene. Ugh, this film would be tighter without it. And John Ottman is quoted as saying he cut out a lot of deleted scenes to keep up the pacing. I'm like, I wish that fucking energy was extended to the rest of this list.
Yeah.
My God. She's the first to get killed. When she gets killed, it's because it's getting filmed on the fancy camera that Simon owns. Simon's the DP. Then he dies, right? Now, there's nothing in his that breadcrumbs it, but when we then, there's like the chase sequence where she gets confronted by the killer, and he shows up, instead of wearing his normal fencing mask, he's wearing this big moon mask that kind of looks like the Halloween masks that Dirk and Stan, Anthony Anderson, and the guy who helped write Scott Pilgrim, it's kind of like the mask that they're wearing, and they're the next to die. When they're getting killed, you see behind the killer's mask is this long brown hair that kind of makes you think maybe it's Eva Mendes. She's been kind of suspicious thus far.
Yeah.
Then she's the next to get killed.
But I thought she was suspicious because she was in love with the main character a little bit.
She is in love with the main character, but I didn't think that made her suspicious necessarily.
I thought they were trying to make her seem suspicious in moments that she was just genuinely trying to cover up that she liked her.
It's kind of funny that you say that because I do have some trivia about that. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Oh my God. IMDb trivia. So the character of Vanessa, which is the Eva Mendes character, was originally much smaller with an occasionally seen on-screen girlfriend. And Toby is killed towards the end in the tower instead. However, John Ottman liked Eva Mendes so much once she was cast that he expanded the role, taking an unused script concept from the first film about the security guard Reese, who was in the first film, having a girlfriend, to make Vanessa have a crush on Amy instead and be presented as a potential red herring. I mean, we see during the dailies, for example, when she's going to kill her, go, get her. You know, she's kind of like gleeful towards it. And then she goes on to be killed in one of the final sequences by the real killer instead of Toby.
That was such a bummer. I liked Vanessa a lot.
I liked her too.
Also, I feel bad for her girlfriend, man. She's got a girlfriend, but she's crushing on Amy. Get your shit together,
Well,
Vanessa.
she doesn't have a girlfriend in this version of the
does.
script. Where?
There's that bit where she meets Simon.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not her girlfriend, but Simon is talking to her outside and she's like, I'd like you more if you were a girl. And then this girl in a truck pulls up and she's like, hey, baby. And Vanessa's like, hey. And then Vanessa says to Simon, do you need a lift? And Simon says, I already have one, which is fucked up.
Yeah, it's fucking weird, creepy thing to say.
Because lesbians are just there for, male satisfaction. But I assumed that was her girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe you're right. Okay, maybe that's just a case of it like that was already filmed and then the role gets expanded kind of thing.
Probably.
But hey, both can be true, Yeah, I feel bad for Vanessa's girlfriend. But also Vanessa's girlfriend knew that Vanessa died without necessarily knowing that Vanessa had the crush. So
that's true.
Her memory of Vanessa can be pure while she's grieving. While she's grieving.
That's worse.
So another piece of trivia I had, the opening scene was originally written to take place on a boat instead of on a plane.
Okay.
However, the script was altered when the production crew came across the airplane set from the film Pushing Tin, and budgetary considerations meant that Ottman chose to utilize that instead. As it turns out, the original sequence on a boat was inspired by the airplane sequence in Twilight Zone, the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it ended up
Nice.
working out great for them.
What is pushing tin? I've never heard of it.
Me neither. I assume that's why its set was just loose in a warehouse. No one was like, we need to take care of this. It's
Yeah.
the set from Pushing Tin.
My God, did you see that's the plane from Pushing Tin?
Wait, the Pushing Tin?
The Pushing Tin.
Oh my God, I saw Pushing Brass. This must be much firmer.
Well, I hear it's a prequel to Pushing Copper.
Nice. You got to watch both to really get it.
Yeah.
Because
But then it
Copper's
really.
tin and brass, right?
I have no idea.
You said that without knowing that?
No, I just was thinking of another
Okay,
metal.
let me double check because
Yeah, I said that.
I was wrong. I was thinking copper and tin make bronze.
Well.
So what would have been funnier is that if instead of I said Pushing Brass, I'd said Pushing Copper, and then you went,
Pushing ass.
it's a prequel to Pushing Bronze.
Nice.
That would have been funny.
Thanks for correcting my joke.
No, it's just we needed to get our metallurgy more up to date. Audience, I'm so sorry. Next
I'm not
time.
having a metal orgy. What are you talking about?
Oh, really? Because all the headbangers are fucking waiting for you.
Headbangers? More like
Oh,
gang bangers.
Oh, I thought you meant like of the orgy, there's the headbanger.
So his chief banger, his right hand banger.
Not just the headbanger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's also got a chief banger.
Wait, the head has a chief? Chief is already at the top.
Yeah, there's two heads.
Wait. So
Oh, so you haven't been to an orgy before?
but
Let me break it
they're
down
not
for you.
co-chiefs. One's the head and the other's the chief?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Well, the
Okay.
head didn't want to be a chief and the chief didn't want to be a head.
Right. Okay. And then there's the first mate. But then there's the orgy captain. The first mate only listens to the captain.
And then there's the orgy lord as well, which is just a whole nother level.
Well, that guy's such an ass.
Yeah.
Then there's the orgy Republican who overthrows the Lord
Nice.
by making him fucking jizz everywhere. Here's another. I can't come up with a punchline to save my life today.
Oh, it's almost funnier.
I don't know. I think the listeners will be the judge of that. Another piece of trivia. I did so much research for this one because this is now one of my favorite movies.
I just don't get it.
Film scholar Jim Harper, in his book Legacy of Blood, a
Isn't
comprehensive
Jim Harper a character in the
the newsroom.
In the newsroom?
Yeah. In his book Legacy of Blood, a comprehensive guide to slasher movies from 2004. He cites Urban Legend's Final Cut as a post-Scream slasher influenced by Italian giallo films, featuring a distinct Argento influence present in the film, particularly in the killer's attire. Harper also notes direct references to the film to the work of Alfred Hitchcock, as well as Michael Powell's Peeping Tom, which is paid homage in Sandra's filmed murder scene. There's a lot of influences in this film that it's pulling on.
What?
It's a collage.
Lots
It's
of films have influences,
reinventing
Michelle.
Hitchcock and Argento style slashes
I don't
through the
think they're
lens of
reinventing
Scream.
anything.
No, it's repositioning it. It's like, what if instead of just doing Scream like the first one, what if instead of making a modern slasher like how we had to do Black Christmas remake on this list, instead it's like, what if we take those old giallo style and Hitchcock style and present it in that modern way? Excellent stuff. Truly impeccable craft.
What the fuck, man?
The last thing I had is the music that's played during the credits is the theme from Alfred Hitchcock Presents, 1955. Yeah.
I have a question to ask you, actually.
Sure.
Thinking of the end of the film, we see the professor in like a lunatic asylum,
Yes, I
and
should have
this
said
woman
this.
is just like, I think we've got a lot in common. Is she like the villain from the first one?
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly that. She is the killer in the first movie.
Got you.
Yeah.
And
so-
they're like banding together at the end of the second one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they actually both come back for any of them.
Oh, okay.
It's just fun. Because then it's also got the very One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest shots, like the profile shots of them walking, which also is very similar to the shots used in some Pam Grier movies, which Tarantino redid. He uses those shots in Jackie Brown, the profile shots. Like it's an
they
homage.
talk about Pam Grier films in the film.
Exactly.
It is nice to watch a film where they're
fucking
talking
great.
about a lot of films.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's fucking excellent.
It is fun to watch a film about film students as well.
Yeah, and unlike a self-masturbatory Hollywood loves Hollywood, this is made by someone who's like, I really like movies. I'm like, hell yeah, fuck yeah. This is a good fucking movie. Do you want to hear some reviews?
Yeah.
So, proving that I'm wrong, this has 9% on Rotten Tomatoes and 4.3 on IMDb.
No, but I love your tenacity. I love how confident you
I'm
are.
right. I'm right, though. Counter to my opinion, Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Everyone remember that bit in Rockefeller Skank? What a noise to put into an audio-only media.
From me to you.
It's me spending 3 hours on that bit alone trying to mix it so that it sounds good. But then I find a hidden message encoded in being like, save me, join the Navy.
Join the Navy.
Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times declared that the movie makes the fatal mistake of believing there is still life in the wheezy serial killer on campus formula.
Yeah. My
Disagree.
issue exactly.
No, disagree. And Nathan Rabin of the AV Club said...
Nathan Rabin. We love Nathan Rabin. He's come back again and again.
Final Cut proves once again that the self-referential slasher film is every bit as tiresome and devoid of new ideas as the unironic bloodbaths that inspired it in the first place.
Yeah.
Disagree. Way more ideas. Better ideas. Better ideas.
This is the first time you've just
good.
Vehemently disagreed with the
good.
reviewers.
No, it's not, because we agreed we were on the same page about Ra 1 being incredible. This is Ra 1 for just me. That's what's happening right now. Unlike the mistake I made when I gave Ultraviolet a 7. That was mistake. It will come back to haunt me. Whenever I try and say this is good, someone will be like, Michelle. I'll be like, no. Here's one from IMDb titled A Good Follow-Up, written by The Creeper. This is also one of the many reviews that we get where every word is capitalized at the front, like it's a title.
Oh, wow.
The first time I watched this film, I thought it was terrible. The second time, I thought it was great. It delivers chills, not thrills. What? I say this because there are very few chase scenes, but a lot of scenes of struggling and screaming to try and escape the clutches of the maniac. The plot is good and the sound/video quality is excellent. Recommended to all horror fans. 10 out of 10.
This is how you sound.
No.
Just so you know.
I didn't go, it's good because there's a lot of scenes of struggling and screaming.
But not thrills.
So that guy is a creeper.
Yeah.
Here's another one titled Worth Watching for Horror Fans by Cologne. Horror movie fans will enjoy this movie. It's not great, but it has some really nice moments in it. One of the very first murder scenes is spooky and disturbing, but after that, the movie just falls apart.
10 out of 10.
There's suspense, but no real payoff for the suspense. It's a little snack for horror movie fans, nothing more. 10 out of 10.
It's a little snack.
Literally, this person's favorite scene is my least favorite scene, and then he's like, it falls apart. I'm like, no, it gets better.
I don't know how to feel about this episode, Michelle.
I have
I've
one
never
more.
felt so distant from you.
I have one more.
Okay.
A creepy sequel to a good film by Funk Punk. To start off, I think Urban Legend's Final Cut is awesome and scary. It's way scarier than the first, but the first was more original. It doesn't matter to me. At least I got the scared that I needed. I don't agree with all these bad comments. Come on, guys. The movie is scary. The blonde was good, who also starred in Valentine. If you're a horror buff and want to have some scared, then I suggest you watch this movie. Go and rent it ASAP. 10 out of 10.
I do want a little bit of scared.
Yeah,
Just a little bit. I'll have a little bit of scared.
For my little snack.
Yes.
That was These People. Abby, what's your review?
Michelle.
Don't do this to me. Don't embarrass me like this. Please.
You know, it's been so long since I've come across a film so bad. No.
Oh my God.
Look, don't get me wrong. As much as I'm in disbelief at how much you like it, I did have a fun time with this film.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was a lot more fun than a lot of other films that we've watched. But you demanding that this is genuinely a good film has made me hate it more than I did when I walked
fucking hipster.
in. No, I think honestly, like, this film was really tolerable. I could watch this film again. And I do like the homages that it paid to certain films and tropes and ideas. I'm going to give it a solid 3 out of 10.
That's so low.
Yeah.
No. Oh God. Okay. Listen. This is my closing statement for the curious case of Michelle's
Please, I beg
love
of
of
you,
this movie.
pretend I'm a jury of 12. You've got 12 cloned Abbies.
Oh my God.
Looking at you. And we all speak in unison. We're like, tell us, please.
But you all blink out of time with each other.
And it makes a noise. It's like...
Well, here's my case. No, this movie is good. It's aware enough that when it's doing something silly and fun, I know it's intentional, but it's backing it up with solid enough directorial choices that it's not the kind of thing where it's like, oh, it's bad on purpose, and it gets like really awful and feels like a slog after a while, right? There's nothing less pleasing to me than when someone is making something bad on purpose as opposed to someone making something fun and campy on purpose, right? This has genuinely like good directorial choices. I think the editing is sharp all throughout it. I think if you take out the kidney heist scene in particular, it's a sharp movie that's really fun, intentional. I think John Ottman's career was cut down before it could have been an incredible launch. I think this movie is thrown under the bus because it came out right after Scream. If it had come out a few years earlier or a few years later, we would call it a cult classic. I think it's a good movie that is trying to do something that I rarely see in a lot of like horror comedies and horror movies. I really like it. I know I should give it more like a 6 or a 6.5, but I desperately want to give it a 7. So I'm going to go with my... Oh, okay. Abby's face is making me feel so much shame for saying 7.
You can like it. You can do whatever you want.
Maybe I'll do like a... Because like, okay, sure, there's some bits that are weaker, and the whole thing with Trevor is strange and doesn't super pay off in any way. I think maybe because of that, like that prevents it from being like incredible. So maybe I'll give it like a 6.85. No, fuck it. 7. 7, baby. Yeah. 7 all day. So that is shamefully my review and our reviews. But please join us and follow us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at RateDescendPod or TikTok at RatingDescending, or email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com. Please email through more questions that you would like us to read out and answer and stuff. It's fun. I love it.
We're happy to do it.
Yeah.
And you can follow us on our personal accounts. You can find me on Instagram under Abigail J. Ward.
You can also find me on either Twitter or Instagram at michelle.stclair. Recently, people who already follow me on Instagram would have seen a saga I've been going through with buying this piano and trying to find the source of it. If anyone knows anything about old pianos from the 50s or German pianos or yarn pianos, please email us and let me know. I would love that.
And don't forget to drop us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Give us a review. We would love it. We read them. We cherish them. It helps us a lot.
Well, that was Urban Legends Final Cut. Abby, what are we watching next week?
Next week, Michelle, we are watching Wing Commander. And I have no idea what that is.
This is another fucking cult classic.
I'm ready.
I'm pretty sure it's got Freddie Prinze Jr., if I'm not mistaken.
What?
Yeah. This has been a good string. We had Spy Kids, and then this, and then this incredible movie. And then next week, we're going to have another incredible movie.
You know, we'll talk more when we're right now.
Okay.
We have to go talk.
Yeah.
Away from the listeners.
Yeah, all right. Everyone.
I'm going to pull out my huge boxing glove.
Ready?